just got to Washington Dulles airport, and it's so refreshing to take a trip and only fly for a couple hours. It is time to drive to Maryland to go see Jason Fox. Can't wait. Just got to Jason Fox's house, and it's raining outside, so I'm not going to walk up on his house with the camera. I need to go inside, get my head straight, wrap my head around all his tanks, 'cause I really have no idea what to expect other than some really unique and unusual corals. So, man, I'm really excited to see this. So it's time to unbuckle from this driver's seat. I woke up at 5 o'clock, so I've got 11 hours into getting here before shooting any video or... All right, time to get out of this car and go see what Jason's place is all about. All right, so it's a new day, and I spent basically all night trying to wrap my head around all of Jason's systems, because he's got so many tanks, some display tanks, frag tanks, corals everywhere. I'm guessing there's 5,000 to 10,000 corals and frags at Jason's house. So, but it was really important for me to really get saturated and familiar with his system, so I could ask him smart questions instead of just what's that, what's that, what's that. So I'm just taking a refreshing walk in the woods right now. We're gonna be checking out the tanks and catching up with Jason, and everybody's really busy right now getting ready for Reef Palooza New York. So yeah, there's a lot going on, a lot of funky lighting downstairs, so bear with me. It's a little bit dungeony down there, but we're gonna do our best and you know, try to give you a full expose of Jason Fox, his systems, his corals, and how they work.
How you doing? My name's Jason Fox with Jason Fox Signature Corals, and you're at my house, and I'm getting ready to show you my reef.
All right, it's good to see you, Jason. Let's go check it out.
Thanks, appreciate it. This is my living room reef tank.
Okay.
This is a 180-gallon tank.
And you have T5s and LEDs on there?
Yep, this tank has 4 actinic T5 bulbs and 2 blue reef bright strips.
And man, you really love your surgeonfish.
Oh yeah, I love the tangs.
You got a lot of tangs in here. And this is probably one of your more acropora dominated systems, right?
Yeah, this tank has a lot of acropora in it. I love the acropora.
And this is part of one of your coral systems downstairs, so it doesn't have its own filtration, right?
No, this tank taps into system number 2 downstairs, which has 3 other vats on it. Yeah, this one has 2 Vortec MP40s, and I've got a Pentaray ECM 42 in the back, blowing flow across the back of the tank. I like to blow the flow across the back of the tank to keep detritus from building out up back there So the detritus will build up in the front of the tank, so it's easy to siphon out.
Very cool. This is one of the techniques you use across a lot of your systems, right?
That's what I use in all my systems, all bare bottom.
Very cool, man. This is a beautiful tank. We'll come back around to it, finish up. I'm sure I have a few more questions, but in the meantime, let's go downstairs and check out the heart of your operation.
Sounds good.
All right, man. So as soon as you get down here, it's really clear that you mean business. This, you have what, like 10 different coral systems, and they're all just loaded with frags, corals, colonies, and everything. And you got your little helper up there, I see.
Yep, Arabella.
Hey. So what's the first tank that you see here?
We'll start with the smaller one. This is a 150-gallon Marineland Cube. This tank will have a lot of LPS.
I see you have a lot of Acan echinatas up there.
Yeah, I like echinatas. They're good growers. They do good in captivity.
Yeah, and that orange is just something that can't be beat. Such a beautiful shade.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful orange.
Really bright color of orange. My centerpiece is this Hydnophora excessa.
Yeah, that's the limelight
Hydnophora. Next door, we have one of my propagation vats. This is tied into system number 1, and this is a 4-foot by 8-foot, 200-gallon vat. And on this vat, I've got 2 Reef Bright strips. I've got 3 actinic T5 strips, and I've got 1 pink T5 strip. I've got some grow out pieces at the end that I grow in these tiles.
Yeah, so I definitely want to mention for the video, we turned off all the water flow just so that we could see from above. But normally the water flow in here is pretty ripping.
Yeah, the flow's ripping in here. It's got 3 Pentaray ECM 42 pumps.
So this is one is kind of similar too, right? A lot of stony corals?
Yes, this has a lot of stony corals. It also has a lot of LPS in it, and a lot of Monopora and Cyphastria mother colonies I have in the one end of the vat here that are grow out colonies.
Now these grow out colonies that you have are very, very beautiful. You've got Cyphastrias with Turbinaria, little Samo, and here's your little Monopora masterpiece.
Yeah, a little Monopora masterpiece.
And what's the name of this gorgeous showstopper?
This one here is the Cold Fusion grafted cap. It came out of the ocean like that. Found it in a Monopora field in Indonesia. And I was specifically looking for another type of a grafted Monopora cap.
And man, I was really impressed to see how many moon corals you have. All kinds of different Favias, Phovites.
Yeah. I love the Favias and Phovites. This tank has the same technique, same flow. The only difference, besides having the mother colonies in the end, is since this has more LPS growing in it than the other vat, I have all actinics, and I didn't add a pink into the last
T5s
vat.
and Reef Brights.
T5s and Reef Brights.
All right, so while we're here, we're coming across basically your big filtration vat.
Basically, this is system number 1, and all these vats and tanks all empty into this 300-gallon Rubbermaid sump. I've got a lot of live rock in this sump. And I've got my bubble pin skimmer over here. I've got a Geo's calcium reactor here. Here's my CO tank with a carbon doser CO2 regulator. This is system number 1. This is the largest system. This is approximately 1,800 gallons.
Very cool. And now we're going to switch over to see a couple tanks on system 2.
Yes.
Very cool. So one of the first kind of show tanks we're coming across here is your working 400-gallon show tank. Explain what a working reef tank is.
A working reef tank is a reef tank that you're constantly cutting frags out of. This tank is a working tank. The next tank we're going to see is the tank that I'm cutting out of most. So this is a working tank, but I still let some of the colonies grow out nicely. And this 400-gallon cube has actinic T5 bulbs and blue Reef Bright strips. That's the only lighting that I have on it.
So let's just chat a little bit about the choice of all blue lighting. What I guess made you decide to try all blue lighting, and then what made you decide that that's what worked for you?
I love the way the corals look under blue. The corals, when you're diving in nature, are growing in blue light. The deeper you get, the water's filtering out the reds and other colors and leaving your blue color. So a lot of these corals that are coming from deeper depths, and most of the stuff we have in our hobby is coming from deeper, is growing in blue light.
So what are the effects of using all blue light on the corals?
I believe that the corals like the blue light. They're happy, they grow well with it. And when you start putting white and a whole bunch of extra light, the corals tend to fade out and not hold their brilliant colors sometimes. Because every time I go out in the ocean diving, it just reminds me that these corals aren't growing in as intense a light as we think they are. And you figure it's all mountains out there. And you figure the coral's growing in the water on the side of a mountain. So maybe it's going to get the sun in the morning, direct sun, but as soon as the sun goes across the top of that mountain, maybe at 1, 2 in the afternoon, that coral's not getting direct sunlight anymore.
You got a lot of surgeonfish in here. You don't feed them that much. Tell us about your use of surgeonfish as part of your maintenance routine.
The surgeonfish are workers. They're here to graze on the algae. So they're help cleaning the rocks, and I don't feed them a lot. I feed nori 2 or 3 times a week, and I'll feed some rods frozen food 1 or 2 times a week, and that's all that I feed. I love the koi tangs. They're really hard to find, the nice ones.
This is one of the nicest ones ever right here.
Yeah, this one's beautiful. It's got a really nice pattern on it.
Yellow with the black outline. Super nice. Yeah, your tanks are crystal clear, just totally impeccable, like no algae anywhere. It's really, really impressive. So now we come to an interesting corner of the basement. We got a couple isolated tanks over here. These are not the best lookers, but they're really important to the operation, right, Jason?
Absolutely.
All right, tell us why.
These tanks are my 2 quarantine tanks. This will be the first stage of quarantine. If I get a frag at a frag swap or a wild colony or something, I'll put it in here.
And this is completely isolated.
This is completely isolated.
That's a standalone BioCube.
Standalone BioCube. And I'll watch the frags, dip the frags, make sure they're clean, cut the bases off of them. From there, they move into the step 2 of quarantine. This tank stays clean, even though it's a quarantine tank. The frags go over to here, then I let them start to encrust, and then I watch them for months and make sure no parasites, especially on acropores and monopores. And after they sit in here for months and encrust, and I'm sure they're clean, then they can move over into the main system. All my frags are clean, and I cannot get parasites in a system as big as the system that I have. It would be devastating.
And we're not just talking about coral parasites, right? We're also talking about algae and sponges, just anything that you might not want.
Anything that you might not want.
And again, this is a standalone system, a few hundred gallons.
Yep.
Needle wheel protein skimmer, and a Geo's calcium reactor there in the corner.
Geo's calcium reactor.
Good.
Yes, this is part of system 1, the 1,800 gallon system. And this tank's 11 feet long.
11 feet long, holy crap. Was it built on site?
It was not built on site. It was shipped up from Miami. It was
holy crap, I can't even imagine like how hard it was to get that in here.
It took 14 guys, and they were iron workers.
Holy moly.
They were on lunch break from a job.
I love your aquascape, man. You really have a diversity of shapes and textures, a big 3-dimensional structure going on, and just places for corals everywhere. So I asked you to turn all the lights on right now, but tell us about the lights you have on this tank.
On this tank, I have blue Reef bright strips. They're on for 12 hours. And I have blue actinic T5 bulbs. They're on for 10 hours. And I have 5 250 watt 20K radian halides, and they're on for 4 hours a day.
And so I see that you're basically your stock pump for a lot of these tanks are the Panta Ray pumps. You have the Hydro Wizard 63 and the 42s.
Yep.
I think we counted up maybe 17 different Panta Ray pumps throughout your systems.
Yeah, that's around how many I have here.
Just introduce the viewers to a couple of your signature corals.
Sure. Got a lot of different signature corals in here. This nice blue tip acro is my unknown acro. That's the name I call it. And I've got a home wrecker here. Got Walt Disney. We've got Tierra del Fuego. There's a really nice bird's nest I call the Enchanted Forest bird's nest in the middle. It's almost got a yellow base with bright green polyps. I really like that one. That one I found myself in Indonesia.
And then here's one of your really recognizable classics, the Fox Flame, right?
Oh yeah, here's some nice frags I have on the bottom of the tank. This is the Fox Flame. That's another Indonesian Acropora. That's one of my signature.
And the Jack-o'-lantern?
Yep, we've got the Jack-o'-lantern.
Right there?
This is Worldwide Corals Yellow Tips.
Okay.
And then right next to it is the Paletta Pink Tip Acro.
Yeah, that's
which
a
is
classic. You can't mistake that one for anything. All right, I would be remiss if I didn't at least focus on one particular strain. So tell me about the Raja Rampage Chalice.
Yes, I love the Raja Rampage Chalice. Here it is in the side of the 400. It's a fast grower, a beautiful chalice. It's got yellow eyes with purple around the eyes, and some of the eyes even got a fire orange-red color in them.
Yeah, like I was saying last night, one of the things I love about the Raja Rampage is it looks amazing as a frag, and it'll catch your eye from across the room. And you know, one of the things that makes this coral a 10 is there's no mistaking it for anything else.
Correct.
Yeah, there's nothing that looks like a Raja Rampage. And then, you know, another really recognizable one is this Limelight Hydnophora.
Oh yeah, I've got that in a couple of my tanks too. This is my nicest colony, and I've actually got two Hydnophoras growing together. The Limelight's this bright green one, and then the Blueberry Blast is on top of it.
So it might be hard to tell from the video, but the Limelight actually has two shades of green. So it's like a regular green basically on the base, and then in the Hydnophoras, in the little ridges, it's another shade of a little bit more lime green. It's one of my favorite corals in the last several years, for sure.
Absolutely. This system has six Hydra 52 LED lights, and it has two T5 bulbs in the middle. And I've been running LEDs on this tank for over 6 months, maybe 8 months, and I'm liking it. The corals are looking good, the colors are looking good. I have the T5 in there to give it a little bit extra spectrum or UV spectrum in there. And this vat doesn't have racks in the bottoms like the other ones. I've got some grow out pieces in the middle here, and then I've got frags that I just put on discs on the bottom, and then I've got some racks around the side for frags with plugs. And this vat has also 3 ECM 42 pumps for flow. I believe in a lot of water changes. The water changes flush out the tank. They get built up metals and stuff that you want in there out, and they're also adding trace elements. And in the 1,800 gallon system, I'm doing a 600 gallon water change every other week. And in the water change water, I'm putting some magnesium and I'm putting some calcium pellets.
And what salt do you use?
I'm using the regular Instant Ocean.
You want to tell everybody your name?
Arabella.
And you like corals too, huh?
Yes.
You want to show me some of your favorite corals?
Yes.
And do you know what they're named also?
Not all of them.
All right, well, do your best. Show me some of your favorites.
Okay. The pink Acropora.
Very nice.
The hammer coral way in the back.
What'd you call it?
Hammer coral.
Very nice.
That the green Acropora and the blue Acropora.
The blue what?
Acropora.
Up here?
Uh-huh.
Very nice.
And this one right in the corner.
Do you know what's special about that coral?
Not really.
That's your daddy's oldest coral. How old are you?
6.
You're 6? That coral is almost 20. 20 years old. That's a long time, huh? Very cool. Well, thanks, Bella, for showing me some of your favorite corals. Do you have any favorite fish?
There's another fish, like right up there.
The koi tang?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's really special. Just like you. Are you gonna get a tank of your own one day?
I already have one too.
Oh, where's it at?
Down in the garage.
All
I
right.
have a little pink one, and I have one from a raffle.
Awesome. Very cool. Thanks a lot. Cool, so we've worked our way back up to the top of the tank. Thank you so much for the tour, Jason. And one thing that I'd love to ask everybody, you know, as I'm wrapping up, is some words of advice from the expert. So tell me, what are some of your signature reefing techniques?
Sure. I think most importantly is keep up on your water changes. do it on a regular routine, and do your testing of your water parameters on a regular routine. Don't start skipping testing water and letting the parameters run too high or too low. That's when you run into the problems. I believe in real high flow. Flow, in my opinion, is more important than lighting.
And then you also really believe in water testing?
Absolutely. I believe in water testing. On a regular basis, at least on a weekly basis. I test phosphates, salinity, alkalinity, magnesium, and calcium.
Yeah, and salinity is one of those super important metrics that I feel we overlook way too much in the saltwater aquarium world, because we're keeping saltwater tanks, and that's the average of everything in the water. So that's a critical one. I'm glad you mentioned it.
Absolutely.
Very cool, man. Well, yeah, you guys probably all know all about Jason Fox now. You definitely want to check out the Jason Fox Signature Corals website. His frags are from beginner to collector, all over the map, no matter what your budget. And yeah, thanks a lot for making time for us, Jason. And I'll see you at Reef Palooza this weekend.
Sounds good. I'll see you this weekend.
All right.
Take it easy. Thanks, guys.